everybody. Welcome out to the Dream Killers podcast. My name is Ian.
What's up, guys? I'm Josh.
I'm Brian.
I'm Gary.
And we got some wonderful people here today from Patience Metal Fab. Thank you guys for coming on the show. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Super
Good
cool.
to be here.
Man, first of all, I just got to start out. I've been going through your stuff for the last week or so. And I've seen some of your stuff before, you know, just from posts on Facebook and that. But as soon as I started digging around on your webpage, patiencemetalfab.com, right?
Yep.
That's the one.
I lost my mind. There's so much content and material on there. I was like, this is crazy. The work that you guys do is fantastic. So, like, you do full custom fabrication?
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I mean, you'd be able to kind of consider us a full-service fabrication shop.
Right.
Super awesome.
Specializing in motorsport fabrication.
So, like, take this piece here, this cross member that you got. Is this something that, like, you guys did from scratch, or did you know?
Absolutely. So that would be a four-piece cross member there, cut out on the plasma table,
Right.
welded together,
Insane.
a couple tabs on the end. I mean, you know, you could certainly get away with just like a miter cut piece of 2x2, but that's way cooler.
It's way cooler.
Way
It's actually
cooler.
a transmission cross member, just to clarify.
In
Nice.
Project Gramps 5.0.
Oh, okay.
Super
Okay.
cool.
All right, and I think we'll get to some of that in a little bit,
Absolutely.
which is pretty awesome. And you guys also do repairs to stuff. This is off of a BMW.
Yeah, so that's off the BMW E46 platform. It's a known issue they have for the rear subframe where it meets the body.
Okay.
Has stress cracks. So very common out there. I mean, we haven't reinvented the wheel there. We just perform the repair because really no one in town will.
That's
Right.
then that's crucial out there because you know a lot of people are just they probably don't even know they have the issue. So if it's known and then they want to they find out that something's wrong, they at least got people to go to, and that's pretty great because I'm sure after I track my car, I'm gonna have some problems. You never know, though. I mean, a good thing to know. So if you have that car, maybe check it out, inspect it, and you got some guys that'll fix it. And you guys do. I mean, is this also off of Gramps?
Yep, that one's off Gramps right there.
God, that looked good.
I mean,
That
that's
was kind of
beautiful.
a feature piece. We didn't really like how the frame rails looked with the fenderless truck. And
Right.
So we filled the area with a set of equal length headers.
Is this your guys? Is this that table you were talking about, or is this just one of your welding tables?
That is what you're looking at in the actual photo is a fixture table, but it is on top of our 18-foot frame table that we build all of our chassis on.
It's nuts. It's so crazy to me, and like,
I can't
yeah,
wait.
I have to visit the shop because to me that's something I just.
I'm
have to
dropping
see
my
in
car
person.
off next week.
Hey, right on, man.
Well, people are starting to move on that already. You gotta
Yeah.
catch up. And you guys do
That's dope.
UTVs, ATVs?
Yep, for sure. I mean, 4 wheels and a steering wheel, 2 wheels and handlebars. I mean, it doesn't matter to us. It's we're a chassis specialist, so the thing that holds everything together.
And I didn't even know this was an issue, but when I went online and I started looking around at rollovers on these things with the factory cages, and they crush.
Yeah, they crush, and the biggest problem with them is when they do crush, they take the chassis with them. So then not
okay.
only is your cage bent, but the chassis is toast.
Can't run it.
So if you got insurance, good deal. If not, you're kind of screwed. So
Sure.
basically, you put a good cage on top of them, and that essentially becomes the chassis itself. So that's
Well, I'm not gonna
a
lie.
much needed mod. Like that one right there is meant for the Thursday night races out at ERX in Elk River.
Sure.
Where they basically take those things and stick them on a motocross track, and these guys go nuts with them. So
I've seen a less complex one that was the polka dot one.
Yep.
Which is probably more feasible for somebody who's just kind of rocking around their property and having a good time.
that was that customer's wife's.
Okay.
She
Oh,
put
damn.
that,
Okay.
She put that thing on its side and twisted up the factory cage a little bit.
Okay.
And
I see.
they were
Okay.
ready for something a little bit better at that point.
Well, like, and we'll get into safety, but I mean, that's crucial. I mean, how do you feel about living, So if
Yeah,
you're running these.
You'd be surprised how many people are willing to sacrifice safety to go fast.
It's pretty
in their
insane.
1,000 horsepower street cars with no safety equipment, and it's
Agreed.
Currently,
we've all been there, but it's crazy, man.
yeah, man. And there's no purpose, especially if you're doing something that's intentionally throwing it around, then, killing
Hey.
yourself in one of them.
Hey, man, check your Facebook notifications later. We're live right
yeah,
now.
man.
Oh, I could do that. I thought I got a phone
me
call.
see
I
it.
looked at it.
Let me see your phone.
No. It's right here.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just joshing.
Oh,
I like you. Bro, we're gonna hang out a lot more. So I'll be over tomorrow. Don't worry.
it's fucking awesome.
Right.
I'm being over there.
Yeah. So this is Gramps, right?
That is Gramps.
I came
That's
up with
insane,
my
though.
own acronym for it,
I like that.
which is pretty corny, but I just thought it was funny.
Well, it beats the old acronym everybody thinks of, right?
Bro,
So I mean,
yeah.
no, that thing's actually pretty cool.
Why haven't I seen this?
Oh, you got to get in the loop. You guys just pulled it off the frame table the other day. We watched video on, even in our Drive Cartel messenger chat, we were watching your video because it was like,
Yeah.
this is so cool. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I did get
guess
that.
what? They're going to be on the show.
Well, the kind of cool thing to what we do is we're not really a hot rod shop, right?
Right.
We're not
Right.
really a genre-specific shop. So, like a customer like this brought us this truck because he wanted to build something that didn't
Shit, the norm.
match, right?
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
wasn't. He wasn't coming in like, hey, I saw these 5 trucks and I want them to look like this. I like this style. Like
Yeah.
he had an image in his head what he wanted it to look like, and of course it went a little overboard. But yeah, I mean that thing as it
So
sits right
dope.
there. I mean there's over 800 hours into that truck.
Oh,
right
I
now.
guarantee there is.
I mean every single piece on that truck is hand built. The only thing that is still there that he brought to us is the rusty cab that you see, and A-pillars, floor, firewall, all that stuff's been hand formed, hand built.
What do you?
cool.
What's he going to do with the finish? Is it going to be?
You see the blue in the wheels?
Yeah.
That's going to be the paint.
Oh man.
Really?
You know?
It's like a Pepsi. Blue.
That's super cool.
So for our listeners that are not seeing this, jump over to YouTube real quick and check out the video. And this blue is nuts. It's like
it's a cool blue.
I mean I can't explain it, so you have to just see it for yourself, or you go over to their Facebook page, which is Patience Metal Fab.
Absolutely.
Or subscribe at DREAMKILLERs at YouTube. Check out 'em.
There you go.
So yeah, no, there's so much more to it because this isn't. Well, the purpose of this truck is
Oh, is it bagged?
Nope,
No.
that's on coilovers.
Okay.
you'll see what happens.
So this
I haven't
customer,
seen, sorry.
this customer in particular, his other vehicle, he's got a Viper that he does, like you guys are familiar with, like Crown Rally.
Yep.
He
Yep.
does
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of the rallies with. So his goal is to take this thing on one of the rallies. I don't know. Judging by what the body guy said, this is not going to be ready for this year's Crown Rally in the spring, but this will absolutely be an attendee
But
in one of
it'll
the
be
rallies
ready
in the
for
future.
Modest, I hope.
Well,
That's the goal.
I think
Thank you.
that might
So-
have to happen, man. I mean,
It's a dude. Already, it's gorgeous.
I mean, you could really drive it like that, right?
No, I would totally drive it
nobody
like
hate-
that. Yeah, hands down.
well, I'm gonna grab another photo off it. The back end, is pretty wild. Like you guys obviously modified it, tailgate, or did you guys recreate it?
Nope, factory gate.
Okay.
Well, it's a stamped reproduction.
Oh, sure.
Actually, that little white sticker right there says Ford approves of that company's
Okay.
reproduction. So that's
Cool, okay.
actually a certified repop.
A lot easier than stamping the Ford logo.
Yeah,
yourself.
for sure. And same with like the bed. I mean, he brought us a bed, but cost effective wise, it didn't make sense to work with what he brought. So
Sure.
it was worth just going with that. But yeah, I mean, the roll pan, the bottom of the stake pockets. I mean, there's a lot of metal work that's been done to the bed.
Absolutely.
It doesn't always make sense to start from scratch. Sometimes it's more cost effective for the customer to work off of an existing piece.
Well, I'm looking at, bed's pretty straight, and you basically, you bend a couple pieces up, you build your sides on the brake and, right?
Yep.
That's the mentality like, okay, we can recreate this, but make it stronger, better.
Yep, but before you
And
know
new.
it, I mean, for the cost of that bed, you're about 6-8 hours into it, and you've surpassed what they can buy that bed for, right?
right.
So
Sure.
it's like, hey, man.
Well, not to mention the rolled bed sides would be the biggest
Exactly.
challenge on
Yeah,
that.
the roll at the top.
Right.
Looks good though, man. It's pretty nice, man. I'm not gonna this is, but all that body just hides the fact that this whole frame is just insane, and like the drivetrain components that I'm seeing, like there's a lot more to this than just, hey, we're gonna make this thing look cool. It's actually designed to perform.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we did on this was, if you dig in our Facebook a little bit, there's a Mustang that we kind of got known for in the last couple of years that was a pretty wild car that we collaborated with a company called Next Rev Motorsports that did a lot of custom aero work on it.
Sure.
The car was was real impressive. I mean, up at Brainerd, if you know anything about the long track at Brainerd, he could flat foot it out of 10 and not lift till 3, about 100 and just shy of 70 miles an hour around turn 1 and 2. I mean, it was pretty wild. But so the Watts link that you see in the back of that there, we basically took everything we learned from making that car work using a Cortex Racing Watts link system, and we integrated into this truck because, hey, once you figure it out with one, why change it? Right. We know it's going to work. We know it's going to turn corners. So
It's pretty. This thing's gonna. I mean, with how wide those tires are and everything, this thing's gonna get.
Oh, definitely.
It's gonna get.
yeah.
That's pretty wild, man. Let's see here. So yeah, a little bit more of your. So is this structure? Is this part of the cage inside of that, or is that just for building a center section, like a tunnel? Or?
I mean, it kind of kills two birds with one stone. It did give us a platform to build a center console from.
Okay.
But at the same time, it tied in pieces like the dash and the back to the floorboards and really does build kind of a spine down the middle of the chassis that
Sure.
that does, definitely anchor everything together. I mean, the floorboards in that thing, the firewall, everything is all fabricated. So whenever you're doing with that, you kind of want to tie it together as much as you can.
Man, I mean, going through this process, like,
You guys are like good.
no, they're good.
They're good.
Like I had to do this on a lot of this type of stuff on my 49, but in no way, like after looking at the work that you guys do, in no way does my work even remotely come close to what you guys are pulling off.
Yeah.
And that's just from a garage guy's standpoint, looking at what you guys can do in a shop. It almost gives me like inspiration to like, oh, I got to take this further. I got to do more. And man, it's fantastic work. Like it's front to back, and by just going through photos, I could put photos all day long about this thing.
Yeah.
But the best way to do it is really just go over and look at what these guys are doing. It's insane.
So can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
How did you guys get into this? Like, obviously, it's not just.
It's his fault.
Yeah. How did you get into this? I want to know. I want to know how
He bought
you
a
got to
Ranger.
Well, I mean, man, if you want the full history, it stems back to being in high school, man, and taking post-secondary auto body classes.
Wait, hold on. What high school did you go to?
Oh man, dude, I was everywhere. I was that kid.
I get that. I was.
My
the same way.
diploma says Armstrong High School. We'll just go with that.
Okay.
There you go.
But during my stay at various high schools throughout the metro, I attended Hennepin Tech College for post-secondary, and I really grew fond of auto body, and that's kind of where it started. And
Cool.
he did something similar where. It started with shaving door handles and painting cars back in, the late 90s, early 2000s, being, 16 years old. But
What was your, so the Ranger, was that your first?
the Ranger was kind of a little bit further down the line. So,
Okay.
After the auto body class, we both jumped ship and went to Phoenix. Went to
okay.
Universal
Cool. Yeah.
Technical Institute.
UTI rats.
For mechanics.
You guys got what?
Right.
Yeah, they all call them UTI rats. In
I
the
was kidding. I
industry.
said you got a what? Like I said, like I was kidding.
Eh,
Just
Are you suffering from a UTI?
Yeah, right.
Sorry, my joke was dumb. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So, we hung out in Phoenix for a few years, and that's kind of where we developed our technical background.
Cool.
I proceeded to go on to BMW, and he proceeded to go on to Volvo.
Okay.
But while we were there, kind of getting to that is, the West Coast has got a huge custom scene, and that's where really the air ride
Huge. Yeah.
trucks kind of acquired, and meeting some people out there. So learning that aspect and coming back home, I got a Ranger and decided to body drop it on, air ride.
Okay, you went
And that's
full
kind of
body
Yeah.
what really started the interest, in a garage aspect.
Yeah.
We built my Ranger, and then he had a Toyota Tacoma, did the same thing, and then kind of accidentally the shop formed.
So what year Ranger did you have?
It was a 98, and then we did a 2008 conversion on it.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Super cool.
Hood.
So you had to still run Dream Beams at that point in the front end?
No, that was all arms.
Oh, okay.
98 was the first year they ran control arms.
I had Dream Beams on mine. And what year was your Tacoma?
Oh, you did have a Ranger.
96, first year of the that body style.
Yeah, man.
And it was funny because I was living in Florida at the time, and I knew this guy was building a Ranger, and he bought the Ranger because he couldn't find a clean Tacoma. And just before I moved home, I found this Tacoma. And
Yeah,
I made
Dick.
the phone call on the way home to my house and was like, "You're never gonna guess what I just bought. I bought a clean 2-wheel drive Tacoma."
Sweet, man. So that kind of just got you guys back in like
Game mode.
started working. Like, yeah. What point did you go? We're gonna open a shop and do our thing.
I mean, we rented a space to kind of work on our own stuff at. And
Okay.
then after we built both of our trucks and kind of got on the road, we started attending drift events around town because that's where our general interest was.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So showing up to a drift event with a body dropped air ride truck, I mean, people kind of put 2 and 2 together, and then that's when the whole roll cage thing started. And then from there, it's just poof, kind of
Yeah.
how we really
Yeah.
started to blow up. And roll cages is what we're known for still today.
Sure.
But, there was no demand for that, 10 years ago when people were drifting a Sunday afternoon at Elko Speedway, if any of you guys remember that.
Oh yeah.
It was the early days.
We were just out. We went back to Elko, Ben and I, and a couple of our friends. Brian, Janice came out, and then like that still has that vibe. Like I hadn't been there in a while, and there was guys during like the what do they call that, where like the local guys come out to like race. You know what
The
I'm saying?
circle track stuff out there.
But they bring their street cars out, and then they do like the races on it. But some of those guys were like trying to show off doing their drifting skills. You're like, all right, okay.
I mean, it really goes back to like Raceway Park before they tore that down in
Yeah, man.
Shakopee. I mean,
Yeah.
I had
Man.
and I still do it. It holds down a cement slab in the back corner of my garage, but it's a S14 that I RB swapped back in like 06 when I was living in Florida. I mean, you were still
Okay.
reading manuals that were roughly translated from Japanese.
You
try
still
to
have-
figure out pinouts. I do still have it. It sort of just sits in the back corner, but
So can I buy it from you?
Florida car, super clean. It's for
Everything's
sale
for
for the
sale.
right price.
Everything's for sale.
RB
God,
swapped.
don't-
That's
Yeah.
crazy,
Don't
man.
tell me.
That's cool, man. I mean, I'm sure you guys got some skeletons sitting in the closet that will come back out at some point.
We've sold more of them than kept. That's for sure.
Well, you're on a better path than some of us, like myself.
Right.
I've been hoarding cars for a while.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so I saw
What
this.
went on today?
Speaking of S13s, I saw this picture on your website.
Yeah, we teamed up with Quiltered Northern and did a toilet paper sponsored wheel tub
Nice.
on the S13.
It looks so good. It dresses
you.
up,
Thank
and obviously because it's rolled on there, like the metal's stronger.
They call
Absolutely.
it a bead roll, so
Yeah.
I mean it does provide an aesthetic appearance, but it also does tighten up the metal and make it stronger.
Nice.
It's actually our electrician came and did a little work for us, and his girlfriend needed some work on his car. So the trade work credit that he dropped the car off, and he said, I mean, these tubs need a little bit of work, and that's what he got.
Well, that's pretty. It's a good look. Like
I mean, it was a
head-on.
full hot and cold side setup, but yeah, I mean the tubs that were in there weren't. Let's just say they weren't going to work. So we kind of had to cut them out and give them the full PMF package. So we really did them right on that.
Well, it's killing the game, man. It's really good.
Looks good.
But now
I
she
love
has a
it.
way better looking engine.
Yeah, she's got a lot cooler car than him, so he'll probably watch this podcast and get pretty salty. So sorry,
That's at you,
Jingles.
Jingles.
There you go. No, I pulled up an old.
Shut up, by the way. Please watch our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
you
can
should
actually
probably do
see
that.
what we're talking about.
But you can listen to because our what we talk about is ridiculous anyway. So, speaking of ridiculous, that's how I
Yeah,
found
but
this
not
old
watching
photo.
it-
It's so insane.
Not
yeah.
watching
I'm
it
so
with
excited
pictures
for
like this is like going to a strip club and just closing your eyes.
Yes.
Right? Like, how's that
Yeah.
music?
But
Please
we
be a big booty.
so I pulled up an old pic, and you guys have been doing some race car stuff for a long time, and there was this 350.
That's definitely a throwback there. That's kind of a build that never got released because he's still working on it. But
Sure.
we did that one probably 4 years ago now.
It looks crazy.
The metal work is fantastic on this.
Insane,
and,
yeah.
Like I was just the concepts of like, I mean, this is so on the back of the car, this fuel filler area here. I'm assuming
That's what they call a dry brake.
Okay.
That's the way he fills his car. You see that a lot in racing where people can basically stab their fuel jug in there and fill up in a matter of seconds versus,
Sure.
2 or 3 minutes.
Well, you guys strip but basically, this car looked like the whole body was taken off, 100% taken off, and then completely rebuilt from the inside back out, right?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, we cut it off at the rear and did a rear tube structure. At the time, this 350Z was built around Formula Drift Pro 2 spec, which it'll still meet that now. But the idea of there is the rear radiator, which is all the aluminum shrouding you're looking at. A lot of guys in the drift scene move the radiators to the rear for weight and to keep the radiator from the front where known impacts happen.
Yeah.
So what you're looking at is kind of incomplete, but the ducting is kind of the exit for the airflow, and it gets the inlet through the quarter panels.
It's nuts, man. And there was so much more to it beyond that.
If you actually find that album, if anybody's looking, you find that album and you do some digging on that, that was actually the beginning. One recurring theme you'll see is this relationship between us and Next Rev Motorsports, which is a couple engineers that do just some phenomenal CAD design work, as well as 3D printing. We're now getting into composites with them, but this is actually our first joint venture between the two of us, and there's a pretty cool duct setup that mounts to the front of that goes over to the quarter panels where Brian was talking about, and then they did big 3D printed ducts going through the quarters, kind of like you'd see on like the back of a big hip Porsche or something.
Oh yeah, sure. That's wild, man. I mean, this car looks like it's had so much work on it.
Right,
I don't even know where to start on that. So, man, I want to get into the main topic of the day, so I'm going to jump through a couple things real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So make sure you go over to drivecartel.com and grab some stuff off there. We got stickers and clothes and all that good stuff.
Some stuff, every stuff.
We got all the stuff over there, man.
You guys got like
Tons
socks
of
and
that.
shit too? Or?
Oh, man, why not? We'll make you some socks. We'll do that too.
Yeah, we'll do that. And hey, I'm pretty sure we should be dropping our hats this next week.
The hats should be coming real
the next
soon.
week or so. Yeah.
Yeah, the beanie hats, man.
Yeah, they look good.
So we're as soon as we can get those out to you, that's awesome. So yeah, go to drivecartel.com. You can see where events and all that stuff are happening, and then also we have a blog on there and all that. And so yeah, check that out. All right, and then make sure you go over to patiencemetalfab.com to check out all the stuff you guys got going on and
Super
all the
cool.
products
For sure.
you do. Right, you got a whole bunch of stuff on there.
Check back a few times because it's a new site. Content is constantly being uploaded right now. So,
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Filling it out. I mean, you will see some amazing photos and amazing projects on there that we cannot even begin to cover. It's insane. What you guys do is it blows my mind.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Once I've seen these photos, I'm not gonna lie, my brain was a little exploded.
Oh, hey man, thank you.
You guys are cool, man. Like I like it. You guys are honestly, you do some good shit.
Thanks. Well, that's a big push behind the website. Is not everyone's on Facebook, and we're all about spreading the awareness, obviously, to create our clientele base and just reach out to people.
Right.
Let them know, what we have to offer.
Absolutely.
And you guys do like support race teams, and you guys do some racing and stuff like that.
We do provide track support for a few race teams, whether it be road racing or drifting. So.
That actually right there, not to keep circling back to Next Rev, but that is one of the two Next Rev cars right there.
Really?
Which are championship winning Central Region cars in SCC AT3. So
I mean, it just looks fast looking at it. I mean, it's coming right at me. So
yeah, they it's fun to work with some engineers.
It's that
that
bass boat orange.
Bass
Everyone
boat.
talks about the bass boat blue. No, that's that bass boat orange there.
Yep.
pretty badass though, man. It's
Going fast, catching bass.
Again, all safety equipment, roll cage, won't take away from anything they did, but that's kind of how we teamwork together.
Yeah.
I like the dimple-dyed pillars too, and there. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Super good, yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good
thank
look.
you.
Like they look super trick. But the main topic for today, which I want to get into, because a big reason why you guys do what you do in your thing is safety. And like, I am one of those people that I'm like, yeah, man, motor, wheels, suspension, just get the car fast.
Right.
But then after you get to a certain point, things can get squirrely. Like before we sat down doing this, I sat back and I watched drag race crash videos just to get myself prepared for what you guys were going to kind of talk about.
Yeah.
Because what you guys do is save people's lives essentially, and not even in the event. You save people's life in the event of something happening. God forbid something happened and they crashed their car, loss of value, but the worst case scenario, loss of life and stuff like that. And you guys are preventing that from happening, which is more important than...
It's almost bad to say, but probably our best customer out there is one who has had an incident where they've experienced firsthand what happens when you put your car in the wall. And I mean, people think, well, you know, my car isn't super fast,
or I'm not going to put it in the wall.
Well, no one ever wants to crash their car.
Right,
100%.
We had a car we lost.
It happens.
Yeah, no, we had a car we lost earlier this season. He went into the wall somewhere between 90 and 100, which isn't anything crazy, right?
It is crazy, though.
But on like a road course, I mean, you're talking 170, 180 mile an hour car. 100 miles an hour doesn't seem like that much. He put it in the wall. The cage, you could see where the cage deflected the energy completely around the driver. The chassis flexed. The pillar gusset on the opposite side of the car was buckled. The rear of the car was buckled. I mean, it was clear as day what
transmission tunnel buckled.
Exactly.
And you saved his life, though.
Oh,
That's the thing. You saved his life.
At least saved him from the waist down.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, spend that extra money for this. I mean, it saves your life. It is what it is.
So so essentially, you're trying to, with the cage, you're literally trying to make a cage that doesn't move,
buckle or anything,
or absorbs and transfers the energy.
That's the ticket.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not as much as trying to make this stay exactly like it is, but to get the energy around it and transfer it somewhere else so it doesn't affect the driver.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you don't want everything to stay fixed, otherwise it doesn't absorb that energy. You want it to move the energy through the car just around the driver, right? Yeah. So like in this picture here that you see, that's what you would call a center node, where you've got like 8 bars coming together in the middle of that. That is specifically to transfer energy. No matter what direction you tag that car from right there, there's a spot for the energy to go through the bar into another bar and travel to the other side of the car. That's going to dissipate it, and it's going to take less of an influence on the driver himself. You know, that obviously you got seats, harnesses, everything else that come with it, you know, but I mean, you know, there's so many people that they'll sink, you know, I mean, what's $15,000 to build a motor, right?
Right.
Nothing, right?
Right.
Big turbo, you know, wheels, tires. I mean, we all know you can sink $30,000 into a car
easy
like that.
Easy.
And, you know, we get people coming in all the time that, well, you know, I don't want to spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a cage. I'd rather have
that's your
Joe
life.
Blow welded in for $2,500.
Most people don't see it that way, though, you know, and it almost takes an unfortunate incident to come to that realization, which we've all been in, and that's kind of why we have the mentality we have now.
Yeah, I'll spend the 5 G's to make sure I'm going to walk out of a car accident. I mean,
it's.
I get it.
But you could spend that on a turbo, bro.
No, bro. I'd rather be a little sore and walk out of an accident than me have a turbo. Fuck that. That's number 3, by the way.
He drives a GTI. No amount of money will make that car
off.
fast.
I still have a roll cage in my GTI. So, it's not even that.
It's more than roll cages, though. You know, a lot of safety comes down,
and that's why
even brakes. I mean, a lot of people underestimate their brakes. They want to go do these 60-mile-an-hour rolls on the freeway, but they don't have enough brakes to stop the car. So that's kind of almost where it starts, is having something to stop the thing.
And even like, did you see the dude? I don't know if you guys follow. You know who Coy is?
Coy Christmas?
Coy Christmas?
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but I do know him via the scene.
He's a good buddy of mine. He was lucky to survive the accident that he was in.
Yeah. I did see that video at BIR. It was unfortunate.
Yeah. So, I mean, and now he spends the money for that roll cage now.
And he's lucky, though, because he had the opportunity to go back and revisit that, where maybe some people didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's worth it. I mean, if you're really going to track your car or really, really do something like that, spend the 5 G's. Don't be a cheap. Don't be a cheap bitch. Stop
I mean, look at his scenario.
Don't be a cheap bitch. Just fucking spend the money, you know, and put it into it. You know, it makes sense to me now.
I think my first safety purchase, besides brakes and all that stuff, was a fire extinguisher and it stays in my car, and I check the date on it every season. I make sure it's charged and ready to go. And I've actually, what I do in the last 2 years, I've taken that one out and I've transferred it over to my boat because I'm like, well,
dude, it's cheap insurance.
It's cheap insurance. So I put a fresh one in there because I'm running a turbo car. It gets hot. You never know what's going to happen if it starts on fire and I'm in the car. I got to be able to at least get it enough so I can get out of the car while it's on fire.
Well, and let's talk about
boats and hose.
Sorry,
talk about your investment.
Boats and hose.
But yeah, I mean, it's just that's a really small part of safety. But do you guys do fire suppression systems? Or
yeah, for sure,
absolutely.
Oh, you do. Cool.
That's that next level fire extinguisher.
Most people rock a fire extinguisher clamped to like a harness bar, which is pretty legit. But in most forms of racing, you need a fire suppression system, whether it be a 3-zone or a 6-zone.
That's
and what that means is you get the engine compartment and the trunk covered as well as the interior. They call that a 3-zone.
Well, and I mean, picture yourself, slamming into a wall or rolling the car. You're all disheveled. What's going to be easier, pulling a button on a dash? Right. Or trying to get your fire extinguisher while you're harnessed in with a helmet, trying to get your fire extinguisher off of, and then what are you going to, where are you pointing it? Where's the fire?
I got to make sure I put it on the other side.
Hopefully you're awake at that point. Like when you hit a wall,
for sure.
going 120,
for sure.
Hopefully you're awake. So
I got to keep it away from Josh because he'll think it's funny if he's riding in the car to just pull it while we're driving.
Fuck you.
That's why you.
God damn it! That's my fourth one.
That's about a $400 or $500 expense.
I can't say the F word for the rest of the show.
You got your one lick in there, pal.
That's why you put the safety pin in them.
Yeah.
You always hear about the guy that throws a party and somebody walks out into the garage and pulls the little lever on his dash.
I would beat someone's ass if they
comes out the next morning. His car's full of foam.
Yeah, that would be. You're about to get filled of hands. I'm gonna tell you that.
That'd be terrible.
I would be so mad. Oh my god.
So bad, dude.
Yeah.
That one's for you, James.
Oh shit.
Yeah, right. There's always that one guy that can't help fondle the fire nozzle.
Fondle the fire nozzle.
I just want to pull it though.
That's what she said.
Yeah, maybe.
You got it with that.
Not so much anymore.
Let me just pull it a little bit.
Let's see.
Tip, bro. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Let me just fondle it.
Obviously, this is really extreme, and I got to plug this laptop in. This is a really extreme photo of this, but essentially doing more basic setups. Like this is from a guy's classic car you guys were working on, something like that. Was that old Buick or something?
Yeah, the one on the left's a Dart.
That was a '68 Dodge Dart. We just did an cool NHRA roll bar in.
Hello.
Okay.
I think the one on the right's an S14.
Yeah, and that's a little bit further. I was trying to capture like stages of, because that has a rear X.
Or no, that's a 350Z. That's what that is on the right.
This one on the right?
Yeah, it's got there's another X back in the back, so it's like
Is it
two.
a 350?
Yeah. I can see a particular sticker on the back window that makes me remember whose car that is.
Oh, that's
cool,
actually
cool.
a G35, by the way.
No, hold on. Now you guys are changing on me.
No,
you're right. He's right. He's right.
It's a G35. We just did a
No.
SCCA G35 a few months ago, and that was it.
Okay.
A very tight-fitting cage.
I'm going to tell you right now, you guys are going to be coming to my house tomorrow.
No,
to
you're
be
not.
working on my car.
No, you're not.
You're gonna have to. You gotta go visit the shop.
You got to come to the shop first before you get that special at-home treatment, man.
Yeah.
I'll trailer it. That's fine.
We got a car getting dropped off tomorrow. You'll have to wait like about a month and a half right now. If I
mean, I ain't doing shit anyways. What is it? Today is January 28th. Yeah, we're good.
Well, we just had
5 months.
We just had a guest on the show, Ben Garrett's, who is dropping a car off over with you guys soon.
Yeah, Ben Garrett's long-time friend of ours. He's got a
E30.
He's dropping off with us. So
Cool.
we're actually currently caging a really rare M3 E30 right now. That kind of inspired him to get his E30 done.
Yeah.
So best bang for the buck, do them both back to back.
I'm really excited for him.
I'm super excited for that.
He wants to go, he wants to go have fun. He wants to enjoy the car and get into certain types of racing, and I'm fully supportive of that. He came from a similar background as you guys.
He's a mini trucker, man. He had
Yeah,
Slammy,
man.
another Toyota Tacoma.
That was a bad truck,
Yes,
dude. That's a
sir.
It was
badass
cool,
truck.
man.
Another one that didn't get enjoyed got finished and sold basically.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
That's the life of mini trucks.
But this would be a good opportunity for him to go actually enjoy the car and stuff like that. And I've been throwing in some wrenches with him on it and trying to help him out.
I appreciate that.
You know, you love seeing people's dreams, and sometimes you need people to help you when you're working on yours too. So, and you know, that's what we do, right?
Well, you know, it's funny. There's kind of a progression, right? You're in your 20s. You got a little bit of money now. You buy the car. You build the crazy motor, and then it seems like the 30s is where people kind of start to realize, like, I either built this thing completely disproportionately, which is like my S14, or you know, it's just, hey, I want to actually have fun with the thing. Like
big turbo, no safety equipment.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
You guys have seen my car? Oh my God, they must know my car.
You guys know him pretty well.
But, you know, you get a little bit older and you're like, hey, man, I want to play with this thing on the track a little bit. And either it makes way too much power for the suspension and the brakes and the lack of a cage that it's got. And you're like, I kind of want to get into something that I can actually go play with for real. And the tickets are piling up, and I'm a little older now. I can't keep getting tickets like this. So, you know, you got to
go legit.
Exactly. So something like that where you bought an E30, I mean, that is a super capable chassis.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, he can pretty much throw a cage in that thing, some wheels and some suspension. And, I mean, that's going to be a super fun car on the track.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it, man. I mean, and he, you know, he's gone, you know, he takes the steps. He gets the right stuff. He just built his own personal powder coating unit, you know, to make sure that the parts he's putting in are clean and look great, and everything is like, you know, not gonna rust or even have potential of failure. Like he knows how to weld really well to make sure he's not gonna, you know, everything's gonna be safe. But it's one of those things where he still, safety wise, looks at it and says, I'm gonna take this part of it to a professional that is going to do it right. Because I've seen people's cages in their car or roll bars and whatnot that looks like they just glued some PVC pipe together to give it that look. And that shit ain't funny, man. That shit's dangerous.
It is. Well, and I mean, it is funny, but it's like, have fun dying.
Well, a lot of people do that, and we work with other shops in town where, you know, no one wants to deal with roll cages. We've kind of figured out this sorcery of science.
Sure.
Where we'll install a cage and everyone else is fully capable of anything and everything else, and we'll just do the tube work. And you know what? That's cool with us.
Cool.
We don't feel entitled to a whole build or anything. We'll do as much or as little as anybody wants.
That's we actually have, I bet majority of our customers go on to do the rest of it themselves. Even guys like Ben. I mean, he's
an OG, man. He's smart.
And he's a good TIG welder. He could certainly buy a kit cage and weld it together. But you know what? The old adage of like, my buddy's a welder.
Everyone's got a buddy in their garage, you know.
Oh, my friend can weld that for 15 bucks.
And for sure, I'm sure he is a good welder, but that's a ship in a bottle right there. So if you don't know how to get the ship in the bottle, you don't know how to do what you need to do to get around all the joints and plan it out accordingly. I mean, that's why we don't install kit cages, because kit cages, we need to design the cage because from the beginning, the design process involves how are we going to put this together in a way that allows us to move things around to make sure that everything is 100% welded all the way around. You work with somebody else's design, a bar is in a place where you wouldn't have put it. You can't get to this, you can't get to that. I mean, it's a process, right? So, I mean, we see it all the time. Hey, my buddy's a welder. Sweet, man. Have him put it in. 2 years later, they come in. Yeah.
Have fun dying.
Failed tech, you know, he couldn't weld over the top of the bars. Yeah, no, I know he couldn't.
Yeah, because it's hard to get that stuff inside there. And ship in a bottle like that. That analogy, sure.
There you go.
It's a great way to describe it.
It is, though.
It's a great way to describe it because you have to get that inside of that fully welded bars around, you know, joints and everything. Everything's got to go inside of that car and fit up in there. And there's some crazy techniques, and I won't give anything away because we had talked about some on a previous date. But you guys really work your asses off to make that happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's better than I would do.
I mean, we're $100 an hour. We charge, you know, people walk out the door for a basic road race style cage. They may be anywhere between 4 and 6.
Sure.
And I'll tell you right now, we're not making time and materials on that. We lose money on cages. Like, we'll routinely have 65, 70, 80 hours in a building a cage.
So you just genuinely care about people.
Well, and it's our first that's like the oil change for us. That starts the relationship, right?
And then they come back.
The race car needs to start with a cage. Yeah. We're going to do this for you. From here on out, anything else you need, you can bring it back to us. Racing involves so many universal parts that don't bolt in, that require some level of fabrication. You do the rest, you get to a point where you got a handful of things that need to be finished to get your car on the track, bring it back by. That relationship continues. You know, mounting seats, window nets, reservoirs. I mean, you name it.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, too, because you're starting that relationship of safety with someone.
Absolutely.
Getting them going, and as they continue on, they're going to be like, I need to do this, or I want to go faster. I need to get, make sure that I'm secure and safe in these various aspects. And you guys provide that. So, you provide the ability for them to improve their race car on the track, too, which is, that's making it happen, dude.
Well, and that stems into that on and off track support we offer. Whether it's we show up to a track and provide track support for a driver, or off the track where someone comes to us and says, hey, I need a new corner balance.
Yeah.
My car's not handling right. What are your opinions?
Wow, man. Wow, you guys are doing it. And I just was like, there's back to that photo. Another angle of the other one.
We can kind of chat about that thing if you want.
Please do, because this blows my mind.
So this is actually my GTI. So
sure. Okay, I'll try to explain the photo.
Got it done right before we got here.
I'll try to explain the photo from my perspective as much as I can, very briefly. Essentially, you have a couple center points, and then protruding from that at all different directions, as if it's some sort of explosion in space. There's bars coming off of this thing, and everything is perfectly welded, perfectly joined together to give you some sort of central structural thing that I can't explain. So that's what I'm seeing. Now explain it, because it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's a deep breath there. This particular picture you're looking at is a functional layout, because what it does is it ties the new strut towers into the subframe, into the roll cage, and into the body. That's why all these bars are coming to a central node, but it is a functional aspect. And the reason we did this is the car started out as a 240 SX S13. Most people are probably aware of it. And it's kind of a shop personal build, and what we did is we acquired an R33 GTR from Japan, from a guy that we have import, a guy by the name of Mike Pollard, GTR Empire. And what we did is we cut the whole floor pan and driveline out of the vehicle and basically laid the S13 over it, making it all-wheel drive. So the S13 now sports...
That's super cool.
Oh, thank you. The S13 now sports a front and rear GTR subframe, as long as the floor pan, which has been intricately cut to save the strut towers and the firewall, and basically what you're looking at there with the trans tunnel. It has all the provisions in it for the exhaust. And it accomplished two things in one, being the S13 had a lot of floor rot that they're notorious for. So we were able to cut that out and replace it with that floor pan, which you're looking at. So...
Wow.
So, hey, do you guys remember what I said before we started this? The whole time I was just going to say, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty much what you're...
It's an all-wheel drive.
I'm going to tell you right now. Ready, you guys? Hold on, you guys ready? Wow.
It's actually got an all-wheel drive RB30 in it,
That's
too.
insane.
Yeah, so we churched it up a little bit more, and I acquired an RB30 block that I wanted to incorporate in the build to give it a little wow factor, just because it's cool.
Yeah.
Precision Race Engines is kind of the man behind that.
I suck ass.
As far as this is all the machining work. So RB30 block, RB26 head.
Yeah.
Still keeping all the all-wheel drive provisions. And basically what happened is the wheelbase needed to be shortened about 8 inches.
Okay.
It's about an 8-inch difference between the R33 GTR and the S13. Mm-hmm. But basically anything suspension, brake-wise, driveline-wise, all GTR Skyline, the body remains an S13. So
plus we got to do some really cool stuff with it. We followed some of the big time attack guys in Australia, and what we found on the R33s was when they lowered these cars, it would screw at the roll center really bad and make them not handle very well.
Okay.
So they were trying to move the subframes up in the car to account for it.
Right.
So when we did this, we basically I mean, going back to an old mini trucker term, we basically body dropped the S13 over the GTR floor pan and cradles. So that thing sits
otherwise
slammed.
they sit nose high.
Exactly.
Right.
That thing sits slammed, but it's actually at factory geometry for the R33, which is where the suspension operates the best.
I feel too stupid to be here.
Hold on,
It's pretty wild.
I gotta go, guys.
Wow. So it's a time attack of that. That's the purpose of this car.
The purpose of the car is it's got a lot of sentimental value.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be a street car, but it will see some track days, probably on the time attack side.
So does the guy who owns this? Can you say that at least?
Him.
That's actually me.
You own it?
I do.
Yep.
That's his car.
He's like, wow.
Okay, so I'm gonna get your number and I'm gonna come hang out with you every single day.
The car's in the shop if you want to come check it out.
I'd love to.
You
guys got
touch it.
brooms? You guys got a bunch of brooms around and stuff like that?
We're good at sweeping.
There you go.
we
You
got
go.
a lot of
Fridays.
people.
Come over on Fridays. That's usually when we do shop cleanup.
Come over Friday at 4:30.
so-
We'll do a
this
shop
is-
cleanup.
I need to see this in real life.
Come check it out, man. It's under a car cover right now.
Okay, hold on. Are you doing like this sounds really corny and stupid. Are you doing an Instagram at all? Like,
I do have an Instagram for that. It's the at S13_R.
put that right here.
What?
And it's basically a build thread for it. It is a personal Instagram for me.
Okay.
But what I wanted to do is keep the personal side and just do like a cool
Yeah.
build thread. And I was pretty good on it about start to maybe last year, where I was doing, bi-weekly updates to let people see kind of the progress of it.
Well, they can kind of follow that journey.
And life
with
got
it.
in the
That's
way,
good.
and we got busy. And
Hey, that's part of the gig.
We'll get back on it. We're looking at getting into a bigger space, and it's going to allow us to dig it out of the back corner and actually be able to work on it a little more here and there. But unfortunately, because of our space constraints, we got slammed, and it's sort of just wound up in a back corner, and trying to even do anything on it is pretty tough.
That's how it goes, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the reality of it. You can't.
But the chassis is done. I mean, that's the critical
hard work
part.
is done.
That's the hard thing to get.
We had a 2-month window in between customer builds on our frame table where we had to get that thing on, swapped, and off. I mean, if you look even in that picture, you can kind of see the lower bars going down under the floorboards, the way it ties into the right above the 17th O there.
Yeah, it's a lot of O's.
No, it just, it was This actually started with hey, let's put an R33 floor pan and a basic roll bar in this car, and then that's what it turned into. And that's what happens when you got 100 feet of chromoly sitting on the shelf. And
yeah, that is chromoly for all the drag racer guys out
all
there.
those guys are going to
use
geek
it
out
sometime.
about 083 chromoly.
It's basically a tube chassis.
Yeah, for sure.
My car sucks. I don't even want to talk anymore.
It's pretty rad.
No, you got that. That's why
It does
you
have
guys are
shaved
doing
door
everything.
handles too, by the way. Going back to our comment on doing cool things.
I was wondering
So
if
you
you're going
kept
to
some
tie
of the
that
old
back in.
school tied back,
Okay, so
back
hey,
into
right.
the.
Back to the HTC days. That car actually got shaved at HTC.
Yeah, I mean, when I was 17 and shaving door handles was cool, that's what we did. We shaved the door handles, the antenna, the wiper, the body line, and painted the car. And
The moldings are even painted on that
All
thing.
right, so
Hell yeah.
I need my back, the hat's shaved, so I'll definitely be at the shop.
we can shave that up for you nice and smooth.
No, yeah,
Shave
I
it up.
definitely get done. So
Yeah, let's paint your car again. Okay, so
Are you talking about your
it's just-
car?
what?
He's got an R32, but it's a GTI.
It's not an R32.
it's
I
the
hate when people say that.
Oh, so you're not even that cool, huh?
Okay,
No, he's not
hold
that.
on, stop it further. The R32 can suck my dick. The only reason I say that is because it's mine.
He's going to have to edit that.
It's a 20th anniversary.
He said he needs his back shaved.
I wish I had enough back hair to be able to shave. No, but it's a 20th anniversary GTI, so it's decently rare.
No, for sure. For
You
sure.
know? But yeah, I really do want to shave that.
no, it's a nice. You got a really nice car. Like
I actually always
I
did
keep
dig that
saying,
body
So what
style.
you got, a Mark V?
What? 4.
Four?
It's a MK4.
Okay.
It's
That was my favorite body style. It was
I love it
was a
too.
little
I do
bubbly,
love
but
that's good.
I do dig it for sure.
it's not like I always say this every fucking podcast, which I've already swore for
that's
way
twice,
too
pal.
much. Anyways,
That's like
He's got
five.
the ING on there.
it's not the fastest, but I love my car. I like it.
No,
fun
it's a
car.
really fun car to
you
drive.
know, it is fun.
We should put air ride on it.
It's
It's
already
got it.
it's red.
It does have air
It
ride?
has a red already.
What do you got for management?
The V2.
So you run an AccuAir?
AccuAir.
Yeah.
I was like, I put it in there. I'm like,
AccuAir is good shit, man, for sure.
It's decent. I got a really
it's coilover bags, which is nice, you know. So it's,
Absolutely.
I got a really good price on it. I couldn't pass up on it. And then I called Ian the next day and I was like, Ian, I got an air ride. So
Yeah.
And he's like, great. I have to help you install it, don't I? And I was like, yep.
So there I was installing air ride on. I mean, I got
a Volkswagen.
I got
Yeah. And so I had to drill.
way different than like what the bag setup I did on that 49.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Dominator D2600 bags, and it's like that's.
Them are old school right there.
Yeah, I found new ones, and I was like, well, they're big and they'll push up, and they'll just do that. But it was already kind of fitted that way, and that was the car was built around that. I think D2500s in the rear, D2600s in the front to accommodate for the engine weight, whatever.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so somebody's new at fabrication. They want to get into it. They're really pumped about it. What is the best way for someone to get into what you guys are doing?
Come in and work for us for free, and we'll teach you everything.
Hold on.
Totally kidding. Totally kidding.
Don't play with me. Stop.
Sort of kidding.
Can I apply
He
right
shouldn't have
now?
said that. He was like, I'm into it.
Where do I apply?
I mean, honestly, man, if anyone's truly interested and they're creative, it all starts with just buy a welder. Buy a welder and start cutting stuff up and gluing it back together. I mean, that's really the first place someone can get the experience. I mean, you can go to a college and get a paper degree,
Right,
but it all
right.
comes down to underhood experience, being under the mask and actually welding and seeing what that metal's doing as it talks back to you, and it'll tell you if you understand it. That'd be my kind of 2 cents on, dude, just buy a couple basic materials and start cutting stuff up.
This is my first welder kit, by the way. If you guys haven't noticed.
Yeah, that looks like a total stick welder mask there. Those are kind of not as common.
It's clear. It's going to burn your eye sockets
Hold
out.
on. Why is this finger so small?
Because it's for a child.
What did so you have normal?
What's the red thing?
You have normal.
That's a torch, I guess. But that was when I looked up
Is it like a battery-operated torch or what?
Well, when I looked up my first welder, this is what came up, and it's a Craftsman.
Hey, man. You know
the
what?
ugliest thing I've ever seen.
This is how Sears went out of business.
Well, first off, I'm going to tell you right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's this sixth finger up here,
I think
bro?
there's a couple gloves there. You get 3 per glove.
You have like a little chode sitting up on top, like.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
You didn't see that? Like, bro? That's 6 fingers.
I like the little striker that probably doesn't do anything at all.
guarantee it doesn't.
The baby striker.
He's doing a little oxy welding.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna find these. I'm gonna order these. I'm gonna ship them to your shop.
And I can build something cool with them. I promise.
Like, we're gonna make this work. But yeah, what do you think?
Man,
what do you recommend people get into?
like going back to going back to like what Brian was talking about. You need some basic cutting tools and some basic glue it together tools, right? Like, we built his entire Ranger with probably a 5-inch grinder, a Milwaukee chop saw, and like a little Miller welder. Don't cheap on the welder. Don't do it. 400 versus 800 is not worth the savings.
And don't go flux core either. Don't
200
just bitch
versus
out
800 is not worth the savings.
Yeah,
Buy yourself a real welder.
Like this in this photo.
Yeah,
Buy this.
nah,
buy
no.
this.
No, there's a lot of better options than going to Harbor Freight and buying a shitty welder.
Yeah, for sure.
My buddy's got one. And it is absolute junk. We can't even. It's like throwing sparks at something. It's
Well, even if you do scoop
See if
one
it
of those
sticks,
up,
just-
you're going to be replacing it in a month or two anyway,
And
once you excel at it.
You're gonna get so frustrated by trying to learn on something. I mean, we don't. We're not like endorsed or sponsored by any manufacturer, but if it's not blue, don't buy it.
There you go. I got a Hobart.
That's racist.
I got a
That's all Miller, baby.
I got
All
a Hobart.
Miller.
Hey.
I got a Hobart, which is Miller.
Hobart's
brand.
good, man. I mean,
It's a good learning
Like
machine
the-
for sure.
The
Absolutely.
guns
No,
say
it
Miller
is.
on them
It
and
is.
everything.
Yeah,
It's just
no,
that the chassis it's got more plastic.
You know what?
parts.
Just buy something name brand. Lincoln,
Yeah.
Hobart, Miller. I'm gonna plug a website that we have nothing to do with, but weldingtipsandtricks.com.
It's a good site.
You gotta do this. Hold on. You gotta, when you
excellent.
promote it, you got to do this. Because we're gonna put it.
Now I got to put 3 of them on the screen.
I know.
All right, but weldingtipsandtricks.com.
yeah, very informative. I mean, any beginner,
Yeah, No, for sure. I mean, and then don't be scared if you get a good deal on a TIG machine. Don't be scared to just jump straight into a TIG instead of a MIG.
Yeah.
MIG's a little more forgiving, but you know what? I mean, honestly, in all my welding experience, I'm gonna say that TIG welding is probably a little bit easier to do well than MIG welding is.
Yeah.
MIG welding's easier to glue pieces together with.
Yeah.
But TIG welding's easier to do well because you independently control all the aspects of it. MIG welding, you got to set that machine up right, and it takes some test passes and to know what you're looking for. TIG welding, you can just kind of jump into it and change things as you move along,
Right.
Your filler speed, your travel speed, your heat. I mean, you can control everything independently. So it's if you understand what you're looking at, I really do feel that TIG is easier to sort of do well. I mean, that's the best way I can say it. TIG is easier to do well than MIG is easier to do well.
So I haven't pulled the trigger that direction because I'm still in MIG land. But somebody said to me once, he said, the difference to them is like one is like driving an automatic and the other one's like driving a stick.
Right.
You have more
That's pretty good because you're using three pieces,
Yeah.
TIG welding, you're using three pieces. You're using an arm, you're using two arms, and a foot.
Right.
And it's a little bit more sensitive when you're welding, being your material has to be a little bit better fit and finished and cleaner than a MIG, where a MIG you can kind of just what we call spray and pray sometimes. I knew he'd get a kick out of it. Where, the joint can be a little less unforgiving and your fit and finish can be a little bit more relaxed. Where TIG,
right.
I mean, it's got to be there, especially if you're proud of what you're doing.
And it's got to be clean. That's the other thing with TIG. No wind, no breeze.
Yeah.
Play with different cups. I mean, TIG is definitely where the art is. I mean, we've probably been through 5 or 6 different style cups, big cups, small cups, monkey,
Just learning.
FUPA, monster.
Did you say FUPA?
Yes, I said FUPA.
It's a
Like,
cup?
is that
FUPA
a
cups.
fat,
Somebody-
overgrown
Yes.
pubic area?
Okay. So
I know it is something else, but I won't say it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
to be
it's,
very appropriate.
yeah, right.
you're trying to be appropriate.
Well, and the beauty,
I'm trying to be appropriate with this word.
I'm trying to be.
But so there's more variance in there than just. I mean,
yeah, and you can weld a lot more with a TIG too. I mean, as long as you don't go and buy a DC only machine, which we recently heard a funny story about. But yeah, you buy. I mean, our first TIG that we had in the shop was just a little. What was it? A diversion. A little diversion. It was like a little $1,200 machine.
Diversion
but
180, and it
yeah.
did AC and DC,
I mean, we
so
built-
aluminum and steel, but it wasn't a water cooled torch, and you're really limited on the thickness of material.
sure. I mean, the price jump is relatively significant between the two types.
Yeah,
You
you
can probably get into a decent TIG for $1,000 to $1,200.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But you'll never regret it. And the thing is about a good TIG machine is if you ever decide to sell it, you'll get your money back out of it. Like there's zero depreciation.
Yeah.
MIG welders. I mean, MIG welders are kind of the same way as long as you buy something name brand. I mean, you go buy a Century, nobody really wants that thing. But
Centratech.
Yeah, right.
Well, what's one of those other really terrible names they got? Like Chicago Electric.
Yeah.
Chicago Pneumatic, Chicago Electric.
We actually
Why you gotta take like U.S. city names and then just produce the crap in China?
Something better, like.
Come on, like Shinsao. I'd rather be like, at least I know.
Most
where
of
it's
them are
gonna
China
be.
made, to be honest.
yeah,
Since
pretty
how-
much. Most,
Shout out
welding.
to the coronavirus.
yeah, right.
We're gonna name it Coronavirus.
You can have any beer you want as long as it's a Corona.
Oh, we're going to Fast and Furious
A little
quotes
Fast
now,
and
huh?
Furious there. I got Dom talking to you.
Any virus.
I can't even take it seriously. Like, if I got, honestly though, if I ever did get the coronavirus, I'd be like, yeah, what's up? I got the coronavirus.
I don't
Okay,
even know
Like, I
what
think
that
it'd be
is,
like a cool,
but-
it would be like a badge that, like,
like
I
a
got-
neck tat or something with a
Yeah,
big Corona bottle on your neck.
I still think the
yeah,
best
what's up?
one.
I got it.
The best one that I've heard described was the Kung Flu.
That's
The Kung Flu.
Hold on, did you guys?
It's fucking great.
There's a funny video I posted today. Most of you guys are on my Facebook.
I'm gonna have to add you. You seem like a funny dude.
It's dude. I
He's
post
pretty funny.
so many stupid fucking memes. God dang it! I said it again.
That's number 3, pal.
I'm over. I can't even swear the next.
Wuhan virus ain't nothing to fuck with.
Okay, yeah. So I posted this one, and it goes. It said being a Chinaman in America, or being a Chinaman in this time, whatever. And this guy, and he like walks in this back room, and he's like, and he coughs, and then the FBI is like, FBI, kicks down the door.
Oh, so it's turning like that.
It's so fucking funny.
Oh man. Well, we're trying to get you guys over to Modest 2020 at the St. Paul River Center.
Oh, yeah.
What's up with that?
August,
definitely need to be
August 15th.
Maybe we can bring Project Gramps there.
We would.
I
we
love
would
it. Oh my god, yes.
We're gonna get our people with your people.
Yes.
No, but Modest 2020. It's gonna be St. Paul River Center, August 15th. Registration for vehicles opens up April 1st. It is not a joke.
First.
You can get your car in there. You wanna hop on that as soon as that opens up for Reggie. So start getting those projects ready and make sure those show cars are a beautiful thing.
And as of today, we opened up. What do you call it? I can't even think of the word. I'm so dumb right now.
Think about it. Think about it.
I can't think of the word. I'm so Mexican right now. What's the word?
Ole way.
I don't know. You're Mexican.
Anyways, if you want to pay to be there, that's the word. I can't think of it. I just have a brain fart. So if you guys have
tickets.
No, not
entrance fee.
Entrance fee.
No, it's not. Now you guys are fucking with me even worse, dude.
All right.
So,
that's right. Go to Modest
sponsors.
2020.
That's the word. If you want to be a sponsor today at Modest 2020.
So what does a
August
sponsor
15th.
entail? Just for all the sponsors out there.
So there's a couple.
What do you guys get out of it?
I might know somebody.
There's going to be 3 different sponsorship levels depending on what you guys want to do. There's the first level is where we put you, blast you, and every single one of our things, put it on our T-shirts, stuff like that. Then we have a secondary sponsorship level, which is I think gold or something like that, right? And it's you get a tent, 2 cars, and shout out all that stuff. And then if you want to do it in an actual like main sponsorship level, you get I think it's 4 cars, right? 4 cars.
The big sponsors get a lot of cars.
Yeah, you get and the spot.
This isn't like a Hot Boy Nights kind of thing, is it? Because that show's kind of whack.
No, this I'm gonna tell you right now. Not trying to like toot our own dick, but
I'm not sure if that's how that saying works.
I'm gonna make it that. That's how it is.
We can go with it, but
Yeah, roll with it. Sure, why not?
Toot our own dick. So
it's funny every time now.
so it's actually really cool. So I went to the River Center 2 days ago and kind of walked around. The main sponsors have this really cool spot right in front that's like, if you guys have ever been to the River Center, it's
Dude, I dig
right
indoor
in front.
car shows for sure.
yeah, I think they're pretty sweet.
And to be totally honest, not gonna say we're the biggest, but we're gonna be one of the biggest this year for sure. For the Midwest, and we're repping hard. I think we're doing really well. What we're doing.
The whole concept and idea was to bring the Midwest back because we go to Chicago. We go
all the time.
We go, to other cities throughout the Midwest, and that it'd be nice to get our friends from those other cities to come up here and enjoy a good show up here as well.
Yeah.
So instead of just doing the same old car show that we do in Minnesota, to do something that's proper. To get people connected, inspire people so that they start doing great things, and that's the whole concept of it.
Yeah.
Not look at how many cars we can shove in a place, or look at how many.
No, definitely not.
Them parking lot shows, huh?
Yeah, we're not that. That's
I think
not us.
the indoor car shows kind of legitimize it a little bit, personally.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to pull off.
Right.
I can tell you,
and it's expensive. I'm not kidding, guys. Like,
I believe it.
for
They
sure.
got to get their cut, man.
For sure. But coming from like the race world, one thing we constantly hear, we'll go to these tracks in like St. Louis and Ohio, right?
Yeah.
And these guys all complain. They're like, "Oh my God, I drove like 4 hours to get to this racetrack," and you're like, motherfucker, I'm from Minnesota. We drove 16 hours. Like, trying to get people to
Suck
come
my dick. Shut
to anything here seems to be
I'm being so inappropriate
just a
today.
battle.
Sorry, guys.
So, I mean,
We crossed a continent,
I'm
two
saying.
continents to get here.
Man, so if you can bring people up to Minneapolis, I mean, if you bring if you bring 5 people to Minneapolis, you win. Okay,
we have more than that.
I mean, that's
the River Center's gangsters.
it's crazy.
It's pretty good size.
It's huge. Like, honestly, like, I got there and I was like, holy shit, this is way bigger than I really remember it being. And it kind of threw me back, like, even being there.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, so you're going to be on stage. And I was like, okay. kind of a little nervous about that.
No, but this should be good because we got my production company's bringing out some beautiful things, and like the collaboration of people coming together to make some great things happen on it. Because we all do our things, and it's nice when it all ties together to become bigger than well, we have the key pieces to put something great together. And I'm pumped about that. So.
Well, and like we talked about earlier, I mean, I think the beauty of it is like the car scene's been so segmented for so long, right? Mm-hmm. If you're in Southern California, you can do the segmented thing fine. Yeah. But let's face it, we're in Minneapolis here. Like there is not we all just need to be you know what, even if it's not your flavor for something else to be there, like I mean just to kind of bring everything together and have a variety because that really is what people want to see. Like people get sick of going to a show and seeing the same thing.
The same cars
bring
every
that
single
variety.
week.
Yeah, Josh.
Okay, I will stop showing up. Fuck me.
He wins all the Volkswagen awards.
I don't win, though. I really.
He knows the judge.
He is the Volkswagen award. So check that out. And again, I want to thank our friends from Patience Metal Fab for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
What you do is a beautiful thing.
Super cool.
And how can we reach you guys on Instagram or, besides the webpage?
Instagram's at Patience Metal Fab. So is Facebook. You can also go to our website, patiencemetalfab.com.
Cool.
Okay. And how can we find you?
I was gonna say a dumb joke, but I'm not gonna. WASKLY Wascally GTI on Instagram. Otherwise. Yeah, that's it. Don't find me on Facebook.
And you can find me at Luxury Missile. And we'll just make sure that you pop over to patientmetalfab.com and drivecartel.com and check those places out. And we would love to see you again. Comment below. And we are going to have a bunch more of these, and we'll have a great time with you. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, look forward to working with you guys this year.
Bye.